Hello! In this video we're going to talk about modal verbs. So, first thing we need to know is what we use modal verbs for. We use modal verbs in 4 different situations. When we want to talk about an ability that someone has, for example, your boss can fire you if she feels like doing it. As we all know, bosses have the ability and the power to fire their employees if they want to. We also use modal verbs to talk about possibilities. This means things that we are not sure about. For example, I might go with you today if you promise there will be a party. I might go, but I am not sure about it. And then we also use modal verbs to ask for permission. For example, may I go to a party today, Mom? May I go to the bathroom, teacher? We also use modal verbs to give opinions, to give advice, and to talk about obligations or to give orders. For example, you should see a doctor, you look sick. In this case, we're giving an advice to someone who is sick. And we also have this. You must see a doctor, your leg is really bad. In this case, we're talking about an obligation. We're giving an order to someone. Someone must see a doctor because their leg is really bad. We're giving an order. Okay. There are some tips that we can use to distinguish modal verbs from all the other verbs. First one is that we use modal verbs conjugated the same way for all the subjects. For example, I should go, she should go. Notice that we do not add an S. We use the same form for all the subjects. We have to take also into account that we use the base form of the verb after the modal verb. Can you see? I must come home at 1 a.m. after the party. We do not use to. I must to come? No, that would be a terrible mistake. We will only use the base form of the verb after the modal verb. And we also have to take into account that we don't have tenses with modal verbs. We have here, I should have helped him yesterday. I regret it. Can you see? We do not change the modal verb. What changes is the verbs that go after them. So we have to take into account that unlike all the other verbs, modal verbs have no tenses and are conjugated in the same way for all the subjects. We have 2 exceptions with have to and ought to, but we're going to talk about that later. Okay, now here are some groups that we're going to take a look at in this video. Should and must, may and might, will, shall and would, can and could, and finally the exceptions have to and ought. Great. Now, first we're going to talk about should. We use should to give advice. For example, you shouldn't go to that party, it's too late and you're working early the next morning. We have to take into account that we are using shouldn't as a contraction of should not. Notice that we use shouldn't only in informal situations. In this case, we're saying that it's not a good idea that someone goes to a party and that we suggest that that person doesn't go. And we can also use should in an affirmative way. You should go to that party, we'll have a great time. We also have must. We use must in 2 cases. To talk about possibilities, my browser isn't working. There must be something wrong with the internet. It is possible that the reason why the browser isn't working is that the internet is wrong. And we also use must, as I told you before, to talk about obligations or to give orders. You must help your mother make dinner. You must not let her cook. This is an order, an obligation. Here we have may and might. We use might to talk about possibilities. I might go to the party tonight, but I'm not sure about it. She might not know what you should do with your computer. She might not know, but it is possible that she does know, but we're not sure about it. And we also use may to talk about possibilities. We have to take into account that might is a bit smaller possibility that may, but native speakers don't usually make this distinction, so it's just a fact that can help us distinguish between both of them. Okay, I may not go to the party tonight. And we also use may, as I told you before, to ask for permission. Mom, may I go to the party? Yes, you may. And finally, we have will, shall, and would. We use will to talk about facts in the future. I will help you tomorrow, and I am sure about it. Or I can also say, I won't become an actress. It's such a shame. In this case, I am sure that I won't become an actress. Remember, this won't is the contraction for will not. I will not become an actress. Okay, we also use will to make requests. Will you turn the lights on, please? Post me a salt, will you? In this case, we're using a task question. Notice that. Okay, here we have shall. Shall is used to make suggestions. Shall we go? Let's go, shall we? And we also use shall in really formal situations. You shall serve the king, I shall help my mother. In really formal situations, we can conjugate shall with all the subjects, but for suggestions, we conjugate shall only with I and with we. And finally, we have would. Would is used to talk about hypotheses. If I were rich, I would help poor people. I would like to have a big foundation. We also use would to talk about the past. When she was a child, she would play in the park with her friends. In some cases, would could be replaced by used to. But there are some exceptions, so it is important that you look at this topic, would and used to, the difference between those two constructions in English. And here we have would to make polite requests. Would you close the window, please? Here we have can and could, as I told you before. Can is used to talk about abilities. I can swim very fast, although I can know or I can play the piano. Or we can also use can to make informal requests. Can you help me with my homework? We use could as a past of the modal verb can. So, for example, I could swim in the past, now I can't anymore. We also use could to make formal requests. Could you take care of my cat for a couple of hours? And we also used could to talk about possibilities. The problem with your computer could be the internet. Now we have the two exceptions. As I told you before, have to and have to's are two exceptions to the general rule of modal verbs. In have to, we have to take into account that have has to be conjugated in all the subjects. For example, I have to be home by 10 p.m. But if we were talking about she, we would say she has to be home by 10 p.m. So with have, we have to conjugate correctly the verb have. And finally, we have ought to. Ought to is used to talk about suggestions or advice. In this case, ought to can be a synonym of should, but should is a bit more used. Anyways, we can use any of them. You ought to see a doctor. You look too pale. And we also use ought to talk about suppositions. They ought to be close. It's only 15 minutes from the station to get here. Now we're gonna look at some examples in context so that you can understand better this topic. Ellie, it's a pleasure to see you. Gosh, Lizzie, hi, long time no see. You look even better than the last time I saw you. You must have taken some vacation, haven't you? I have actually, it was awesome. I went to Hawaii. Really? I will go there next year. I'm sure you'll have a great time. By the way, who are you going with? Michael might come, although maybe he won't. He's always so busy. Yeah, you're right. Well, I don't know if he can go, but... Oh, true. Claire could definitely go with you, I'm certain. You think? Yeah, she may come if I tell her in advance. Yeah, you should ask her soon though. She gets 2 free months every year. I guess next month is one of them. Hi, I'm Claire. I'm an actress and I have to work 10 months a year. I love my job. Plus, I get some time for myself 2 months every year. You're right, I ought to tell her. In fact, I'll call her right now. Oh, the phone's ringing. I would ask if the microphone wasn't broken. Oh wait, it sounds different. Someone must have left a message. Hey Claire, it's me, Lizzie. I just wanted to ask if you can come with me on a trip I am planning. Please let me know as soon as you get this, will you? Bye! It's done. I'm sure she had a problem with her phone, otherwise she would have answered. Yes, it must be the microphone. She told me about it a while ago. Maybe, yeah. Oh, I must leave now. I need to pick my mom up in an hour. Okay, don't worry. I have to do something too. Let's get going, shall we? Sure! Okay, I hope previous video was useful for you. Now, let's check our knowledge with a quick evaluation. I suggest you pause the video and try to find out what the correct modal verb is for each situation. So, first situation is, Melanie wants John to help her paint the guest room. However, she's not sure that he will have the time. What would Melanie say to her friend on the phone? Here we have Melanie and her friend. And this is the exercise. Try to find out what the correct modal verb is and then continue playing the video. Okay, now first answer is might. Why? Because here we're talking about a slight possibility. Why? Because John is always too busy working, so it is not possible and we are not really sure about it. Then we have can. Why? Because we're talking about an ability, someone that can help, that has the ability to help. And then we have will, because we're talking about a fact in the future. Let's go with the second situation. Lucy is planning a party to celebrate her sister's graduation. She wants a big place and also delicious food. How would a dialogue with a party organizer go? Try to find the 3 answers. Okay. First one is would. Why? Because we're talking about an hypothesis. In this case, we are also expressing a desire because we're saying, I would like someplace big. She would like someplace big. That's why. Now we have will. This is a fact in the future. There will be a lot of people. And then we have could. Could you help me with that? This is a formal request. Exactly. Again, please try to pause the video and then continue playing to check your answers. Third one. Janil wants to go camping with his friends, but first he needs to ask his mother for permission. How would the dialogue with his mother go? Hi, Mom. What would be the correct modal verb? Exactly, may. Why? Because Mike is asking her mom for permission. Then we have the answer. Exactly, yes, you may. She's giving him the permission. And great. But you must come here next day or come home next day. She's giving him an order. She's expressing an obligation that he has. And finally, will you? A request. Okay. Elizabeth is a nurse. She talks to her patient who is recovering from surgery. She gives him some advice. Okay, take your time. Rate, have, obligation or order, advice, and supposition. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned a lot.